the chronicles of my life could be turned into a fascinating TV series. However, I will try to summarize it briefly. Before my mother became a mother, she met a pregnant woman. A deep friendship quickly developed between these two people, who were the same age and lived in neighboring houses. Their interactions were characterized by moments spent sewing diapers and bonnets together. Coincidentally, Julie and I were born in the same maternity hospital at the same time period. My name is John, by the way. The origin of our names remained unknown, but it was decided that in time we would make a great married couple. So our wedding was truly American. Strangely enough, we didn't mind it, as we were used to it since childhood. We went to the same kindergarten and even sat at the same desk. Classmates often teased, calling us bride and groom. But we never took offense, as we firmly believed in the prospect of future family happiness. After Julie's parents moved away, we continued to see each other for some time. However, with the emergence of new friends and interests, our meetings gradually became less and less frequent, until finally we stopped altogether. Nevertheless, my mom continued to talk to Aunt Linda from time to time and reminisce about childhood photo albums. As time passed, I found myself on the verge of completing my college education. One fateful day, however, I encountered a beautiful young woman in a store. Her eyes, widened with fear, peered out from under a fluffy hat. Without hesitation, I chivalrously helped her to her feet and began picking up the scattered oranges. Then I walked her back to her place of residence. Interestingly, her name was Julia, the same Julia from my childhood. Thus, we resumed our relationship and began spending time together again. Such a turn of events serves to confirm that you can't escape fate. A year later, we exchanged vows and became husband and wife. Both of my mothers were beyond happy, having resumed the habit of daily phone calls and weekend discussions about wedding outfits and goodies for the reception. It should be said that Julia's parents during the years of our non-existence managed to get rich, left the apartment in the city to their daughter, and themselves moved to live in a country house. More precisely, in a nice mansion with 10 rooms. We came to visit them several times and even stayed overnight, because the wedding troubles turned out to be much more than I expected. And the wedding was only a week away. Julie had something urgent to discuss with my mother, and we had to go to the country residence. My parent immediately found a couple other issues that needed urgent attention and came with us. We took my father for nothing. Such a large company required a hearty lunch, so we stopped for meat and had a fun picnic on the lawn. Since there was plenty of meat and appetizers, the wine flowed. In addition, the future father-in-law made alcohol, so for an additional portion we had to run to the wine cellar, located 5 meters from the place of our party. And so the wine once again ran out. Aunt Linda asked me to come down with her, as she was not very well on her feet, and the other men looked even worse. Well, one has to keep on good terms with one's future mother-in-law, so we headed down to the basement. She opened the door, went down the stairs. I followed her. Suddenly the woman turned and swayed. Quite automatically I held out my arms, and Aunt Linda was in my arms. She lifted her head, looked at me, licked her lips. The woman's hands ran down my spine, then pulled up my t-shirt and began to play further. Suddenly I felt a lift. Aunt Linda must have sensed my condition. Her lips gently touched mine. For some reason I smelled the sweet odor of ripe raspberries. I felt dizzy, and my hands squeezed her waist. By the way, she didn't look 43 at all. Slim, slender, without traces of fat, soft, well-groomed skin, luxurious hair, the ability to dress well and stylishly. Sometimes in the store she was even mistaken for her daughter's older sister. But that was only at first glance. And at that moment I just enjoyed the sweetness of an experienced woman's kiss. A slight movement appeared in my jeans. The source of the movement was obvious, but the reason for it remained unclear. After a few minutes, however, I found myself ignoring the fact that the world around me had shrunk in size, limited to the space inside my hands. It seemed that my fingers were present in every corner of my being. Gradually, a burning sensation appeared, accompanied, it seemed, by a loud exhalation. Suddenly, everything came to an abrupt halt. From the overwhelming surge of emotion, I swayed and collided with the stepladder. The sound of the stepladder crashing to the ground was a sobering reminder. I held out my hands, gently pushed Aunt Linda away, and backed toward the door. "What are you afraid of?" Aunt Linda looked at me with some distaste. "Or do you not like me?" "Neither do you." I took another step back. "And I like you, too." She licked her lips, pulled off her already too tight t-shirt, and moved closer. I pressed my back against the wall. "Mom, John, where did you disappear to?" came Julie's voice from upstairs. "We're here." I took the opportunity and just took off up the stairs like a bird. My future mother-in-law came up with me. She managed to grab a bottle of wine and fix her clothes. "What happened to the t-shirt?" I looked over the clothes. Her lessons with sharp feminine nails hadn't gone to waste. The t-shirt was all wrinkled and chewed, to say the least. "John fell down a little?" The woman rushed over to help. "You know it's easy to trip out of habit in our basement." "Woe is you, Mary Luck," Julie sighed. "Mommy, can't you find something suitable for your future son-in-law?" "Sure, easily," the woman agreed and winked at me. We made our way to the future sons-in-law's bedroom. Aunt Linda handed me her husband's t-shirt and watched me carefully as I changed. "You have a great body," she said as the dressing process came to an end. "Do you exercise?" "Yes, I swim on the weekends." "That's good." "I can't exercise with him because my husband has become so bad and not attentive to me." Her husband really made an impression with his huge belly and overall size. I don't remember what an inch is, but I felt like defining my future father-in-law's weight with that particular massive word. "And I go to fitness." She ran her hand over her trim body, twirled in place, letting me enjoy contemplating all the soft curves, and laughed. "Okay, let's go. Or someone else will be here in a minute." At night, I was sent to sleep in the farthest room. Julie and I chatted for a long time sitting on the windowsill, then I escorted her into the bedroom. We decided we would observe decorum in the presence of our parents and went back to my room. The quiet night was fragrant with roses and lilies, heather and lavender, as they write in love novels, but to me it smelled of a slight chill and something soft coming from the window, probably roses. I stripped down to the bare minimum of clothes and walked over to the window. Suddenly my eyes were covered by someone's thin palms. "Julie, I just walked you out." A giggle was heard from behind me. "Don't open your eyes," whispered a gentle voice. I nodded my head. My palms retracted and a thin handkerchief was thrown over my eyes, smelling languid and passionate. I had time to wonder how it was that Julie didn't have such an exciting perfume. And then I didn't care. Sharp claws ran down my spine, reaching my tailbone. I exhaled involuntarily. The hands stopped. "Keep going." I commanded the hands obediently returned to my heel and then moved to the exact opposite side of my body. Coincidentally, the body began to behave in a completely predictable manner. The woman's lips moved, her hands did too, and then I was turned around to face the room and led somewhere. As it turned out, we came to a neatly spread blanket. Already on it, the action continued further. Hands ran all over my body, and then cool lips traveled. Finally, unable to stand it, I picked up the woman, turning her over onto her back. With an unfortunate turn of the head, the thin fabric pulled away and I was able to get a good look at my overnight guest. Aunt Linda lay beneath me. I could only stop for a few seconds.